Hi, I'm Claudia Brown Coulter with Pivotal Peace. I'm your go-to mediator for navigating divorce while parenting children with special needs. I'm also a registered legal document assistant LDA based in the greater Los Angeles area. I'm filming this video on a Saturday, and it's going to be released on a Wednesday. So at the time of filming, there is still a Department of Education, but it's possible by the time this video has been released that our current president has begun to dismantle the Department of Education. So let's talk about how that would impact you if you are a parent of a child that has special needs. The first thing I need you to do is not panic. Everyone around you is going to begin to panic, and you cannot be in that energy. You have to be the best advocate for your child. You are their first advocate. You have to be their best advocate. So I'm going to give you some things to think about in the event that this has already happened, but you need to know that this is coming. Whether it happens today, tomorrow, or 2 months from now, it's going to come. The things that he said he was going to do, he's beginning to do. So I would actually be surprised if we still had a Department of Education in a year. It's going to go away. It will. Right, wrong, or in between, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The reality is it's going to go away. Okay? So come out of denial and get into reality and get yourself ready. So at the time of filming this, it is March 8th. Now, in California, employees, not instructional aides, not classified, they're called classified employees. So that's anybody who is not a credentialed employee, not certificated. Your certificated employees have to be notified about a potential layoff by March 15th. So that means if they have not gotten notices before this coming week, it'll come this week. And if the Department of Education gets defunded, these districts are going to be scrambling in California because they're going to have a lot of people on their payroll they're not going to be able to afford to pay next year. So there could be potential layoffs come if it gets closed this week and they get a budget. People could start getting laid off for the next school year as of this week. Because if they don't let them know before the 15th, then they have to employ them for the whole next year. That's just how California works. I know that because I was a school teacher in California for over 20 years. That March 15th deadline, you did not want to hear from anyone about a reduction in force. You didn't want that. That's coming. It has already come for other reasons. So what could happen? How could this affect your child's IEP? So what's happening is the budgets are going to be shrunk. Things are going to shrink, and the focus is going to shift from the federal government to the state. So now the state is going to be in charge of more of the funding. So we still have IDEA. As of this point, it is still federal law. It is still federal law. That is good. That is a plus for you as a parent. The law is still in place as of this filming. Funding is going to shrink. States have different laws. They have the federal law, and then they have their own little requirements and things like that. You're going to begin to see some inconsistencies across the states because some states are going to spend more money on this and some are not. There's going to be reduced funding for IDEA. It's still law, but no teeth. You put your money where your mouth is and you take the money away. There needs to be money there to enforce that, to make sure that it can actually happen. Less staff. Delayed. So we have requirements of how long does the school district need to get back to you if you've requested an initial evaluation? How long does the school district have? I think it's 60 school days in order to complete an assessment of your child. You're going to see additional delays. You're supposed to have a yearly IEP and a triennial every 3 years to reevaluate. You're looking at delays. So what you can do as a parent is really stay involved and updated on your state's policies. Know what changes are coming. If you are in the state of California, California is You already know California is different. We have a Department of Education in California, but then we have these SELPAs that are over districts. So really plug into your local SELPA. Wherever your child is attending, plug into that local SELPA and get information from them about what changes are coming. The other thing is, if you're in another state, really stay connected with the head of your special education department at your school district, and whoever is in charge of your state Department of Education, stay connected with them. Get on their email list so you know what changes are coming. Get documentation now. Have strong documentation in your IEP that's backed up by reports, evidence, data, so that you can really have, it's not, oh, I feel, or they're just, it is real data that's irrefutable. So that when you go and ask for services in the future and there isn't enough funding, there will be for you and your child, because you have a detailed IEP with data to support it. So really document it. Keep all of your records. And let your district level office personnel and your SELPA, if you're in California, know your name, know your child's name, know you, advocate for your child. If you are going through a divorce or you are already divorced and you have a parenting plan, this can also impact where your child goes to school. Because as funding shifts, programs at schools that your child qualifies for, it may no longer be at that school. Your kid may have to move schools, or that setting may no longer be appropriate for your child. So you and your ex or soon to be ex may have disagreements about where your child should go to school. So begin to think about this now. Contact them, especially if you were already divorced. Contact your co-parent. We're no longer calling them your ex. They're your co-parent, and go, hey, I need you to watch this video because this is really about to happen. And we need to be prepared for our son, Malcolm. I don't know, I'm just making up a name. We need to be prepared so that in the event that Malcolm's services change, in the event that Malcolm's teacher gets riffed, they get laid off, we know where Malcolm can go. Let's really collaborate on this now so that we can take care of our kid. We can make sure that they have the support that they need. If you guys are living in two different areas, two different school zones, there might be different district policies. Now, I would hope that at least there'd be uniformity across the state, but you never know in this day and age. You never know. So you could also reevaluate who's got the better program. So if you live in, say, the LA Unified School District area, but your soon-to-be ex or your co-parent, they live, I don't know, in Claremont Unified School area, you have to go, okay, who has more resources? What would be the best place for our child? And how can we make sure their needs are services? That's Claremont to even East LA. That's like on the eastern edge. From East Los Angeles County to East LA, Los Angeles Unified, that's a long distance. That's going to be a disruption for your child, but you have to be thinking about, where can our child go? I apologize. I have so many thoughts going through my head about this right now, and they're coming and some are going. So if this feels a little disjointed, I apologize. I really want to make sure that you know the information to protect your child. If you choose to change school districts, your IEP goes with your child. Make sure you have a copy. Records don't always get transferred right away. You can provide a school a copy of the IEP. They still have to implement it. Make sure they have it. Don't let your child fall through the cracks. They don't know what they don't know. Sometimes you might have your child in private school, and I really like to encourage people, if you have your child in private school because you think private education is better, that's great. But if your child has some sort of special need, you're going to get more services for the most part in a public school, unless this was a private school placement from the public school, because this was the best placement and the school district, the county, the SELPA, the state, the federal government is paying for this placement. But if they're not paying for that placement, you really need to think about, where is the best place for our child and can they get those services in public school? So how do you prepare? Make sure that you are in communication with your co-parent so that any changes that come along, you're going to be surprised, but you're not going to be taken off guard. If you're in the middle of a divorce, make sure your custody agreement is flexible enough to allow for these changes. It could be that Malcolm is always going to go to ABC Unified School District because that's what you guys have agreed upon. That's the radius where you live. But you could add something in there about, however, we are going to meet and confer once a year or things like that, so that if something happens with funding, if this no longer becomes the best fit for them based on their needs, we're going to return to mediation so we can have a conversation about where our child should be. It doesn't have to be locked in stone. You don't even have to put what school district your child is going to be going to. A lot of times people put that in their agreement because there is so much conflict. Hopefully, if you're past your divorce, you're at this point where conflict has died down and you can have a conversation with your co-parent about the needs of your child. Parents want their kids to succeed. Even the most narcissistic parents want their kids to thrive. They do. So this is a conversation that's likely going to go well. It's you and your co-parent against the world. That's a good place to be. Sometimes that's a good place to be. That's the best thing for your child. That is the best thing for your child. A little over the top, but that's how my mind thinks. You and your co-parent against the world. You have to advocate for your child in the middle of all of these uncertainties about funding and policy shifts. You have to stay updated. You've got to be subscribed to blogs. People need to know your name and face. They have to go, everyone in this school district is going to lose funding, but not Malcolm's family because they're making my life. Or I like them so much and this child really needs them and I know their name and their face. They're not a number. They're a person. So we're going to do whatever we can to make sure Malcolm gets what he needs. That's why you're present. That's why you're present. You are the squeaky wheel. You don't have to be a mean squeaky wheel, but you need to be a squeaky wheel. That's why you're building these relationships. It's not just with the district personnel. It's with the teacher. It's with the other people on the team. It's with the school administrators. It's with the support providers. It's with the APE teacher. It's with the instructional aides, the one-on-one aides. It's with the one-on-one aides that maybe aren't even working directly with your child, but they're in the classroom or they're on the school campus. It's about being involved. I actually had a conversation with another parent because I am in PTA. I'm on the PTA board. And I said, okay, how are we PTAing next year? Our children are going to a new school. How do we PTA next year? I know they're not really big on PTA in middle school, but what do we do? Because I need those teachers to know my face, to know that I am present and that I am here so that my kid is taken care of. And she was like, yeah, I'm going to ask some questions. Let's both PTA together next year. You have to be strategic about these things, because if you are the one who has a smiling face, if you are kind, if you resolve conflict, if you are respectful, if you advocate for your child, if you remind them that they are not just black and white data on a sheet, they are real living, breathing human beings with hopes and aspirations, how could they cut things? How could they throw your child away? They can't. And that happens all the way up the chain. You want to document their needs and progress. All of your IEPs should have present levels of performance. Every time a progress report comes out, every time a report card comes out, there should be some sort of progress report of where your child is at on their IEP goals, and if they're close to meeting them, or have they met 35% out of 100% of their goal for that year, and it's the first trimester or first half of the semester where they're at. Keep those documents, keep a record of how they are progressing, and then really focus on what their present levels of performance are and what their areas of needs are, and have it backed up by data. These are not hopes and dreams and wishes and feelings. This is real, actual data. Stay updated on policy changes. Connect with other parent groups, with other advocacy groups, so that you know what is happening. And also look at community-based and even private-based resource hubs where people can connect you with attorneys, advocates, therapists, additional educational services so that your child's needs are met. And also document those expenses. Save all of those receipts. You never know. Think about alternative ways to get the needs of your child met. So to wrap up, the Department of Education is going to go away. It's going to be defunded, whether that's today, tomorrow, or in a month. It's going to go away, and you have to be ready. This is not about you getting other parents ready. It's about you getting ready, because you are the best advocate for your child. You have to think about flexibility in your custodial agreements with your soon-to-be ex. If you're already divorced, you need to have a conversation with your co-parent about these upcoming changes and strategize how to take care of your child's needs. You need documentation and data. Get copies of these things. The school has copies. It is in their CUME folder. Your child's CUME folder has a copy of all these IEPs. If you don't have a copy of this, go ask for a copy. I don't care how mean the lady is in the front office. You be nice and you go ask for a copy. And if they don't give you a copy, you write a written request asking for a copy. And if the clerk won't give it to you, go directly to their teacher. Get that copy. Keep that documentation. You are going to be okay. Your child is going to be okay, but only if you take action. Only if you don't freak out and you start thinking about, what does my child need? How can I make sure that they are okay and that there are no breaks or gaps in the services that are required under IDEA? Last thing I'll leave you with, there will probably be an increased number of lawsuits against the federal government. There's already a lot, but once this happens, a lot of special education law has become law because of these lawsuits. It changes the way individual school districts do business with students that have special needs because of these lawsuits. There's a potential for lawsuits. You might need to file a lawsuit. This is why you need to be connected with people and find the right lawyer, because IDEA is still federal law and they have to put their money where their mouth is. Do not lose hope. Fight for your child. Have a good week. If you've got questions or comments, drop them below. If you know a parent of a child with special needs and you think that this would be helpful, please be a good friend and share it with them. Get them ready, because change is coming and we cannot stop it.